Morning. A little bit of a slower start than I had anticipated. Wanted to start at 6 this morning, so 6:18. But it's kind of a new option. We're doing some Qigong. I wanted to have an earlier option for those who want to participate, but 9 a.m. is like right smack in the middle of the beginning of their day. So this will be an ongoing opportunity starting at 6 a.m. here in the Pacific Coast time frame. And we'll be focusing on doing forms. Today we're going to do the 8 Brocades, take us through that whole series and lead us through it. My joy and love for the forms is that the fact that they have a beginning and a middle and an end. They're a full arc experience of qi flowing through the body and through all of its appropriate circuits, one organ communicating with the next, and then working kind of all in unison to give us harmony and balance. So the 8 Brocades is a nice, succinct set of 8 specific exercises. In each of those 8 exercises, we do 8 repetitions. And this gives us, again, the opportunity to feel our qi move through all of the organs and to become more full and vibrant and regulated. So let's warm up just a little bit. Make sure our joints and our meridians are nice and flowing and supple. And so the thing to do is actually start with a pulling down heavens. And instead of kind of gathering and pulling through, we're just going to imagine that we're standing in this ocean of qi, this water that's right at the level of the waistline. I should say the hip line. Waistline is a little bit higher, but definitely the hip line is where this level of C is. And we can use our little magic magnet hands to gather up that C and just splash over us as if we were just kind of going to wash our face or wake ourselves up with a little cold water. Just inhale, imagine yourself gathering with your hands, lifting it up over the head, and then just splash it over you. Imagining that you can feel that trickle down effect, that you can feel that cooling effect on your face. And inhaling, gathering, and just washing over. That third time, gather that seawater and just wash it right over. Waking you up, moving your qi, letting it down and out over the top of your your skin, washing out the cobwebs, so to speak. Let's do one more set of pulling down heavens. This time we are still going to gather this qi that's around. We're going to gather it and then we're going to collect it and add it to qi we gathered from above and outside of the planet, from the sun, the moon, the stars, the galaxies that we can see. So we inhale with the hands, sweeping through this sea of qi gathering. We continue our inhale as we lift up over the head and gather the qi of those celestial bodies. We exhale and pull that combined qi right through our body, imagining it melting away any tension, melting away any obstruction, any resistance to flow. Do that 2 more times. Feeling the weight of the qi and feeling it melt through the body. Final time. A little more connected, a little more intercommunication going on in the body, in the limbs. I can feel more moisture when I get in my lungs to make me clear some of that sticky sleep phlegm. So now I want to warm up the spine. I want to warm up kind of all of the organs and give them a nice little squeeze, a nice little ring like a rag, and pivoting on the spine opportunity. My arms just drift at the sides. Lots of popping and creaking my back, shoulder joints. Really embrace that. Let that through. nice experience to be an obstructive step. Add a boy, little add a girl, pat to the back is a nice addition here. Really access a lot of stagnant emotions with this. Give them an opportunity to be stirred up and swoop down. Good, and coming back to that neutral position. Building our Wuji posture. The outside edges of our feet are parallel, a nice easy bend in the knees. This opens the sacrum and allows us to tilt the pelvis underneath. That tucking of the pelvis rolls the shoulders back and makes the neck nice and long. The neck going up into the heavens makes the armpits kick out. And we make a nice space between the inside of our arms and the sides of the body, allowing chi to flow freely all the way down to the fingertips. Through pulling down heavens, where we really dive into the earth and gather up as much earth energy, swoop it up above us and gather as much celestial energy as we can, and we pull it down through the body. 3 times. Throwing long fingers and hands, feeling that earth chi. Continuing to inhale as we scoop it up over the head, gathering that celestial energy, all that twinkly starry light, pulling both types of chi right down through the top of your head, right through all of your organs, out through your gathering again. Pulling it through, feeling the sparkly energy of the heavens, the real heavy, warm, relaxing energy of the earth. Both relaxing and invigorating. I feel ready to start my 8 brocades. Wuji posture is the neutral position to return to initiate and begin from. And so our Wuji posture is already kind of in a nice built place, a nice easy flow happening. We're ready to begin the 8 brocades. First, we slightly bend the knees and slightly stoop with the back as we inhale and gather chi in front of the belly. Lifting that chi up, we continue inhaling as we come up to the collarbones. We rotate to come underneath that chi as we finish our inhaling, going all the way up above the head. And then we exhale, stretching, making this wonderful bubble all the way around the body, all the way back down to the feet. And gather again, lifting, coming underneath the press, looking up at what we pushed up out of the top of our head. And then we stretch that chi into a great bubble all the way around. Lifting, pressing the fill, and then out, soft and expansive. This is our 4th time now. So we're halfway. Another option for this first of the 8 brocades. This is about the torso and filling with moisture. As we come up out of the top of the head, we can actually come up onto the balls of the feet. A little bit taller, and then that makes our bubble that much bigger. Take exhale and spread. Find ourselves back down on our heels as we finish that exhale. 6th time, up out of the head, spreading. Two more. Really fill the last one. Feeling that filling action in the whole torso. Come under and we fill all the way up through the head, out the top of the head, up onto the balls of our feet, and then extending into this great bubble. Good. Once we're done with our 8 times, we do a pulling down heaven. It's just one. And we just allow and gather the chi that's around up over the head. And just rain it down over the body, through the body, relaxing, letting go of that first section of the 8 brocades. Now we need a wider stance for our second exercise. So we can pivot on the heels and pivot on the toes and pivot on the heels one more time. This gives us a nice wide horse stance. We go ahead and sit down so that our knees are still in that soft position, and our tailbone can still tuck under, the shoulders roll back and down, the head is nice and long. We inhale while the arms come out to the sides. We exhale and we cross them in front of the heart, so that the wrists are crossing right in front of the heart. So we have a backside hand and we have a front side. As we inhale, our backside hand runs along the inside of our front side hand, comes out to the side and becomes the holder of the bow. Also have my aiming device, my reticle is my thumb and my forefinger, and I look straight down. The outside arm becomes the drawstring puller, pulls the bowstring all the way back to that same side shoulder. Here I've finished my first move. So it's an inhale to transition. So that pulling hand becomes the one that travels along the inside of the other hand, and they switch roles. Now my opposite hands become the holder of the bow, and the last time's bow hand becomes the string puller right here to the shoulder. So nice and straight all along the shoulder. Exhaling to sink down into my stance. Inhaling to transition. Guiding around along the arms, exhaling to sink down into nice and straight. Going along the arm. Allowing the mind to relax and trust its body's extensions and transitions. Inhaling, guiding along the inside, changing position, pulling across the chest, exhaling this. Inhale and switch. Feeling a nice, easy flow in our transition. Exhale, sink. More. This for the lungs, as well as the large intestine. These channel pathways are getting excited and stretched by this exercise, supporting the lung. The metal element is the lungs. Good. After this last one, we inhale, arms cross in front of the body. Exhale, pressing down the front of the body, down out of the feet. Rotate, pivoting on our heels, pivoting on the ball of our feet. Get us back into posture. Pull down the hands. Good. Our third gem in this 8 brocades is focused on the stomach and the spleen. With this one, we have our hands going in opposite directions. As you notice, there's a balance that we strike with each one of these parts, each one of these exercises. We want to have equal expression of left and right. Excuse me. So for the spleen and the stomach, pardon me, coughing is optional. For the spleen and the stomach, we'll be pressing in opposite directions. The spleen and the stomach work in tandem for our digestion, receiving and then moving energy, moving waste down to be processed and eliminated, as well as taking the nutrients and bearing them up to the the lungs and the heart to become new chi and new blood. So we inhale, gathering just like we did for our first brocade with the triple warmer. But here, once we get up to the level of the stomach, we flip one hand so we have opposites, because remember we're going in opposite directions at the same time. And we keep those palms facing their relative position. Upper palm faces the ceiling, which means that there has to be this rotation in order for us to keep pushing up. And the lower hand just basically comes out to the side, or it can also come behind to really accentuate that twist. We'll just take it out to the side. So remember, my upper hand is pressing up over the top of my head, and my lower hand is pressing down towards the ground. And I'll sink into my knees as I exhale with this one. Then I flip my palms and I start my inhale and transition those hands. One's going to become the upper hand, the other becomes the lower hand, and pressing to exhale. Keeping the integrity of my Wuji posture, I flip my hands, my palms facing other directions now, and keep my chin tucked so my neck stays nice and long, and keep my tailbone tucked under so that my low back stays relaxed, my spine stays aligned. Good. Flipping the hands, I inhale. Nice transition, pressing. This is 6. Flipping the palms, inhaling, transition. I'll notice how I went behind myself with that. That lower hand, so you can stay on the side, or you come all the way behind and press. Gives a little bit more of a sense of twisting with the torso and with the shoulder joints, especially. Good, and last one. Let's transition, switch my hands to facing opposite direction. This helps me remember where I'm going, so my mind doesn't start to freak out. And I press. Good, and I bring my hands together, forming a ball right in front of the stomach. And I take that ball, push it into the torso, and then run it down the front of the legs, the top of the feet. Imagine it going right out my toes. And then pull down the heavens. I don't think I did this after the archer. We want to do it in between each of them. Losing some of my continuity by talking myself through this, talking us all through this. That's okay. Gathering the chi, pull down the heavens. Sing up over the head, pulling it right down through the top of the head, through the torso, all the way through the legs, out the feet. With this fourth part of our 8 brocades, we are opening and closing the microcosmic orbits. This is the orbit that goes over the top of our head and down the front of our body and under our pelvis, up the spine, this constant orbit. And we are going to still maintain this upright position, still maintain this real alignment of the spine, and then use our hands to really splay and open up this front aspect of the orbit. It has a tendency to get kind of closed, so we do the opposite, open it up. And in turn, then we're closing this back channel, which has a tendency to be really open, where working at the computer or driving our car, that back channel tends to stay too open. So this gives us a chance to close that while opening the one that stays too closed most of the time. The Wuji posture is our neutral stance. We stoop slightly and inhale as we gather, lifting up towards the navel. Then we come on top of that chi we gathered and we press, growing really tall through the top of the head. Still full of breath. We exhale, keeping the palms facing the ground and letting the fingertips rotate around towards the back to aim towards one another, and bringing the chin to one shoulder as we exhale. Stay breathless and come back to neutral and start to gather to inhale. Pressing and lifting tall to finish that inhale. Then rotating those wrists, bringing the chin to the chest as a soft exhale. Control, gathering, pressing, lifting, opening. My tailbone tucked under, my knees relaxed. free. My chest, my ribs open, feeling my abdominals engaged so that I don't arch. And keep that alignment in my spine. Exhaling to open. 5. Back to neutral, gathering, inhaling. Exhaling it up. 2 more. There. Center for my last one. And back to neutral. Pulling down heavens to finish this part of the set. Just letting it trickle over me and through me and relaxing, letting anything go that's not serving. Right up. We'll submit it halfway through our 8 brocades. On the second half, we start by supporting the kidneys with 2 of our exercises. This first one requires us to be in a wider stance. So we pivot on the heels, pivot on the toes, pivot on the heels. It's that wide stance again. Horse stance, it's called oftentimes. Nice easy bend in the knees. And the hands will be really soft and kind of quiet here on the thighs. We don't want to lean and we don't want them kind of anywhere else. Just in line here, it helps to really focus in this line that we're going to extend from the arch of the foot up through the leg, through the pelvis, through the torso, all the way to the same side here. Keeping our arms nice and quiet at the sides of the legs helps us to feel that go all the way up to the torso. So again, that easy bend in the knees, tailbone still tucked under. And in our mind's eye, we're using our feet like the rooted tree trunks that they are, and we're filling up and up and up as we inhale, and then exhale and feeling that fill from top to bottom, from bottom to top. All right, so we bend the knees just a little extra and come to one side, starting to extend as we inhale, feeling that stretch all the way up through into the ear. And then exhale and relax the shoulders back. And really try and feel that whole line from the arch of the foot through to the ear. Then we stoop again, coming to the other side as we inhale. Start to extend and feel that stretch up through the pelvis, up through the torso. Exhale, feel it stretch all the way through the ear. Switching, inhaling in transition, inhaling to stretch and lengthen, and exhaling to feel that whole trajectory. Feeling it through the tightness of the pelvis and the low torso, which may or may not be there for you. It starts to make me pretty quiet, even though I'm still kind of yammering. I feel a calm, and I want to just be chill. It's the kidneys we're supporting, the water element. They're nice and filled. We don't get as anxious. We don't get as paranoid. We don't get as fearful. Just get relaxed. Lengthening and feeling. One more each side. Place. Exhale down into our feet. And pivoting, we come back into our Wuji posture. Here we can pull down the heavens, gather the chi around, up over the top of the head, and just pull it straight down through the body, out the feet. We had our second one that focuses on the kidneys. We're actually going to gather chi and wrap it around the daimai, or the belt channel, and press into our kidneys and actually arch our backs, really accentuate that pressing. Once we've completed that inhale and arched our back, we will keep our chin out, keep our back straight, and lean forward and run our hands down the backs of the legs, stretching the hamstrings, stretching the calves. Once we get down and empty our air with a stretch in the low back, we'll bend the knees, we'll come to the inside of the legs, inside the feet, and we'll paint all the way up the legs, all the way back up to the belt channel as we inhale. And we'll swirl around to the back and press into the low back as we hold our breath, looking up. And then we'll exhale again to get that stretch. So that's what it will look like. All right, so inhaling, gathering chi to the belly, wrapping as we hold the breath and stretch. Exhaling, keeping the chin out and the knees more or less straight, and down towards the heels. Bending the knees, coming to the inside of the legs, standing up as we paint up the inside of the legs, restacking the spine one vertebrae at a time until the shoulders roll back. We wrap full of breath, stretching, looking up, keeping the back aligned, we exhale. Doing that stretch the whole back of the leg. Trying to stay breath full rather than holding the breath too tight as we arch. And just fill with breath. Remain full, look behind, and then exhale once we start to come down the legs. Four blades stay down, neck stays long. 3 more. Bending the knees, tucking the tailbone, restack the spine to stand up. Really take care of your low back and your upper back. Nice curve to the back as it stacks back up. Let it curve through each vertebrae, move all the way back up. Let's do our last one. Wrapping, pressing, arching, exhaling. Coming back to the dantian, the lower part of the belly just below the navel. Exhaling into the feet and relaxing the shoulders. Pull down the heavens. And right through, down, out. Move to the liver and the, the level of the diaphragm, and the spleen, and the stomach, and the pancreas to get their twist, as well as this opportunity to express our creative energy in the form of a punch. A nice wide horse stance is called for this part of the 8 brocades as well. So we pivot and pivot, getting that nice comfortable horse stance. Inhale, all the arms come out to the sides. To bring them in front, and we start to make some soft fists, curling all the fingers in, the thumb in front. To bring those fists as we exhale right to the level of the bottom of the ribs, right at the level of the liver and the spine. Nice easy bend in the knees, keeping the tailbone tucked under. Inhale and extend one of those fists out in front of you. Keeping the palm facing up as you finish inhaling. Once you're full of breath and ready to exhale, we rotate the hand in a fast, efficient manner and finish the extension as we exhale. Now both arms will be in transition as we inhale. The one elbow coming back, the other fist coming forward facing the ceiling, the palm facing the ceiling rather. Once we get full of our breath, we exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Find that I sink a little bit for that one, so I'll stand up in my knees as I'm in that transition. And then I'll sink. 4 more. My elbow goes back as my fist comes forward. That's 1. And elbow back on the inhale. And pressing down the sides of the body, sides of the legs, out the feet as we exhale. Pivoting to come back into Wuji. Pull down the heaven. And the final gem in our 8 brocades is called dropping post. And for this one, we're shaking out anything that's left over. We've done some wonderful twisting, some wonderful filling, some wonderful expanding and contracting, which will shake up that which is kind of obstructed and resistant in us. And so this final act of interacting with gravity will help to propagate that stagnation down and out the feet. And one word of advice as we're doing this dropping post is to take care of your joints. And so it's not about having a hard impact that, again, adds more resistance to the vibration we're trying to bring in, but rather we want the impact to bring its own kind of momentum through the body. So let a shake or a wave move up through your body as you impact with your heels. Right, so we come up on the balls of the feet, we rotate the heels in and put them back down. So we're a nice feet with our feet. We use our magic magnet hands to gather the ambient chi around again, just like we did when we were opening that microcosmic orbit. We're going to gather to the navel and we're going to press and grow real tall. Except this time, as we press and grow tall, we're going to come all the way up on the balls of our feet. That gives us the space to have our heels be the dropping post. Notice how I let it move up through my body. So we'll do this 7 times, and then the 8th time we'll bounce 8 times on the heel. So we'll do 7 up and down, and then the 8th one will bounce 8 times. Inhale, pressing up tall, and bounce. That's 3. 6, 7, and now my 8th time. All and 1, 2. Gonna Wuji posture, all above my feet. Rotate my heels back behind me and come on down. Pull down the heavens. Sit and feel for a moment. Appreciate, enjoy the flow that I can feel from my fingers to my palms, to my elbows, to my armpits, through my torso, to my groin, to my backs of my knees, to my ankles, to my feet. Feeling my head float right on top of my torso. This means I'm open, flowing. My chi is buoyant. That's what the 8 brocades are for. So let's gather all of this ambient chi that we've also generated around us. Let's place it right into that bio battery, which is the lower dantian. And we do so using our magic magnet hand. We gather this chi up in front of the head, and then we'll just press it right down into the low belly. Inhaling, gathering the chi around with the palms, feeling it in the hands as we gather it in front of the head. And exhale, feeling it drift, feeling us press it right into the lower belly. And over top of the head. Gather again. Press. And a final time. Pressing into that low belly. Feeling a presence with our palms, feeling a presence in the low belly. Feeling warm, relaxed, but awake. Prepared for what's next. Good, and closing your Qigong practice by creating a complete circuit is a real nice way to finish that segment of your day and be ready for the next segment. So feet together, palms together, fingertips. The toes and the fingers are the entrances and exits of our meridians. So by doing this, we make one complete circuit with ourselves. Thank you very much for doing Qigong with me. Super fun. I hope to see you next Monday, 6 a.m. It'll either be Eight Brocades or it'll be one of the other forms like the I Ching, the Dao Wu Zang. But all of them easy to lead, easy to follow along, easy to appreciate in about 40 to 45 minutes time span. Thanks for being here. I'll see you next time. Namaste.